Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thanks for coming back to get hit with the truth again. So today we're doing the episode 11 of the podcast here, the True Boxing podcast. I'm on with my boy Melly again. How you doing, Mel?
I'm doing good, man.
Right on, man. We're good hearing from you. I know it's been a minute since we've been on, but it hasn't been that as long as it was the last time. It's been about a month, and we're going to cover all things boxing. We're going to do a recap from the fights that have happened since the last time we were on. And then we're also going to give some previews on the fights that are coming up pretty much all the way through October 8th. We'll give our predictions on those. And we'll talk about some fights coming up. And in the middle, we'll talk about pretty much some of the major fights that we want to see happen that we're trying to get rolling in. I might have my boy Steve come in as well to talk about a couple fights and everything. I invited him on. He's one of the guys. He's a guy I've known for a lot of years, and I actually just found out recently he was a member of one of my Facebook boxing communities, and I didn't know he was a big boxing fan. So me and him been talking a little bit lately. I invited him. Not sure if he'll make it on or not, but I told him I sent him the link. Let him know he can come jump in if he wants to. So, anyways, let's get it rolling. We are going to go from the most recent fights to all the way back to probably mid-August. We're going to start with the Fox pay-per-view card that was headlined by Andy Ruiz and Luis Ortiz. We're going to start with the undercard. Jose Valenzuela against, I think the dude's name was Edwin De Los Santos. Valenzuela gets upset, gets knocked out in the third round. What'd you think about that fight, Mel?
Man, what I thought about that is Dominicans have been making a slow. It really people have been paying attention that Dominican been making some moves at the lower weight classes.
Right.
Think about it. Had the Ruiz, had the Garcia beats Crawford, then he beats Gordon to become WA champ. Puello from WA champ. Then you got Santos just beat freaking El Rayo.
Yeah, I was very skeptical. I know a lot of people were big on.
My not to cut you off, but my big problem was who be matchmaking these fights, man.
Yeah, well, here's my thing: is this fight came on last minute because Valenzuela had a fight that was already supposed to happen on the undercard. De Los Santos stepped in last minute, but my thing was this: is I wasn't huge on Valenzuela to begin with. I mean, everybody made a big deal about the way he knocked out Vargas back in April on the Spence and Usyk undercard, but Vargas is a shot fighter. He's an older fighter. His best days are at 130. He's a dude that's just worn out from all the wars he was in earlier in his career. And I really wasn't shocked that Valenzuela knocked him out in the first round. Everybody made a big deal about that. And then this De Los Santos guy, the reason why he was so dangerous was I think the dude was like 14-1, but he had like 13 knockouts, man. I'm sorry. He didn't beat any credible fighters, but to have that kind of a knockout ratio means he was dangerous, So I kind of wasn't surprised that Valenzuela got upset here.
But my thing about it was that's why I don't understand why these promoters be trying to keep these fighters away from each other. Like, why are you like? My thing is, why were they constantly putting Cruz and Rayo on the same card? They wasn't fighting each other. Like, bro, you could have made that fight, got some money, and regardless who won or lost, you would have got a good win and a good story off for instead of putting them both on the same card. Now you got a massive upset.
Yeah, hey Mel, can you turn I don't know if it's a TV or a radio on in the background. Can you turn that down? Because you sound good, man. Except I can't. There's that background noise going on.
Yeah, man.
Right on. Cool, man. Yeah, everything's good. There's no bad interference or anything. I'm hearing something in the background there.
Yeah,
but
what you were saying?
Yeah, but nah, man, I agree, dude. I just I wish everybody wants Cruz, and we'll talk about him in a minute. But everybody wants Cruz to fight better fighters, and I think these are the kind of guys he needs to keep feeding on until Tank wants to give him another run. But I really, like I said, Valenzuela is very one dimensional. All he tries to do is knock a guy out. When you leave yourself open against a guy who's got a knockout ratio like De Los Santos, you
And
you take the
and,
risk of getting knocked out.
and then De Los Santos wasn't just. Then this man De Los Santos is 23, same age you and a southpaw.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
on
So,
short notice, you don't have no time to prepare for this man style or nothing. And he's a knock artist. Who
yep.
picked this man, bro?
Yeah, I know. You really gotta say that the PBC made a mistake by letting this dude step in last minute. I agree on that one. I'm hoping Valenzuela gets a rematch. I really do hope that.
I
But
think that's
I don't know if he wants a rematch. After getting
that's
knocked out in the third
that's
round.
literally. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's literally probably his only option at this point.
Yeah, if he wants to
Eh,
get
If
any
he wants
cred
to,
back from losing, yeah.
yeah. Then it was on short notice. You got the storyline. He like, what fight can you take other than the rematch right now? This, and I ain't gonna
Yeah,
cap to you.
well, a
And I ain't
rematch,
no.
and he has it working for him that he hurt the dude and put him down also in the same
Yeah,
round.
and he just say,
So
"I
yeah,
got confident. I want to prepare for him." And now he was tougher than I expected. You got the story. Look, this the thing too, though.
yeah,
Like you
yeah.
said,
All right,
if you want to get the credibility back, rematch him.
yeah, absolutely. All right, so the next one was, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, but Abner Mates returned after what was shit? What was it? A 4.5 year
4 years.
layoff, and yeah, he took on a veteran in Flores, but a guy who's kind of a faded veteran. They fought to a draw. Both guys thought they won.
I
Honestly,
didn't.
I see it as a victory for Mares just because he didn't lose after 4 years off. What do you think?
I didn't. I didn't even pay much attention to the fight on there.
Yeah, neither did I. I wasn't really that interested in it, but Mares does have a name. I mean, it might only last a couple fights because if he runs into somebody big, I think he gets that with.
What Mara need to do. I mean, I didn't pay much attention to it, and seen a little. They say so the good, say look good and all that. I think if you want to keep fighting, bro, just you need to just cash out. You can fight your girl Gamboa or somebody, man.
Yeah,
That'll be a good fight. You versus
he definitely
that'll be a
needs to
good.
build himself up, and he needs to feel lucky that he didn't walk away with a loss from this. So that
Ain't
kind of leaves
it,
the door open for bigger fights.
is he at 130 or 135?
That fight was at 130. So
Oh, put him down. You Gamboa.
yeah, yeah, I don't think that's a bad one.
I
All
don't
right.
like Alvin. One thing I can say: do not be dumb and try to jump on some young killer for the money. You gonna never be he gonna never be the same again.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so next up is Isaac Cruz and Eduardo Ramirez. I thought the fight would go a little bit longer, but Cruz went out there and just destroyed Ramirez. What was it, a third round stoppage? What'd you think about
Exactly.
that one, man?
I got two sides on that fight. I got one side where I think it was like he did what he's supposed to do. Now I want like for instance, right? Cruz team is they're putting him in there with momentum fights. They want, like you said earlier, they want to keep the momentum going for the tank fight because they want to eventually get the tank fight out. And the performance that he's having is keeping it keeps the narrative going, the momentum going. You feel what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
But I feel like at some point, if the tank fight ain't happening, you're going to have to step the competition up.
Yeah. He's gonna
That's
have
how.
to cross the street and fight somebody like the Ryan Garcia fight or somebody like
I
that on
don't,
that level.
bro. This is what I said the whole time. I've been saying this since he fought, bro. Tell me this wouldn't make sense. Ryan Tate 135. You got Cruz and Rody at the co-main.
Yeah, yeah, I know you mentioned that. You mentioned that when the fight was going on. Me and you were going back and forth. You said Cruz and Rowley, and I started thinking about this, saying it's an easy fight to make. They both fought Tank recently, and both were competitive. I mean, even though Rowley got stopped in the sixth round,
And look,
that was
Rowley.
kind of a close fight. So
And that's the thing. That's the thing. That's why I'm getting it back then. Rowley. One thing I will give Rowley. I don't care what nobody say. Rowley made this the most interesting Tank fight in a minute.
Yeah, because the dude does have the mouthpiece. He can sell a
And
fight.
look,
So
if he beat Cruz, he beat Cruz. He beat Cruz. You can't tell me. I can hear Roller saying something like Tank. I was beating Tank. He got look hit me with a one punch. He ran from the rematch, so I went to beat the dude he was running from.
yeah, yeah,
That tell me that don't sound like something Roller would say.
yeah. And Rolly, that's the one thing he's got working for him is the dude. The dude can sell a fight. I would love to see him and Cruz. I really would, man.
You made that the co-main event, Ryan versus Tank. Cruz, he got the fan base already. Rolly,
Yeah.
you can sell that fight. That's all. Rolly, judge your jobs. But plus it's a competitive fight.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the PBC. The one thing I'll give him about the Gamboa fight and the Ramirez fight is if you're a hardcore boxing fan, you're not surprised at all that Cruz beat both those guys and knocked them out impressively. But it's highlight reel shit that the fans that'll pay the
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
that the
He
casual fan
winning.
wants to see.
That's what I'm saying. He winning the way he's supposed to win.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm trying to say is the casual fans are the ones that are gonna that add on to the pay-per-view numbers
And look though.
that make Tank a big deal.
And look
And
though.
if the casual fans are looking at the last couple fights since Tank and Cruz has those highlight reel type knockouts, which he did. He knocked the fuck out of Gamboa, and then he knocked out Ramirez impressively. That's only going to add to Tank's got to fight Cruz if Tank's not going to fight Ryan. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
So
oh yeah. That's
yeah,
that's the position Tank in now. If you not if that I ain't gonna cap you the cash cause you're not going to 140. You're not gonna say you're not going to 131 to probably division. I'm at this point, if you're not fighting Ryan next, it most likely cause after Tank it had to be I mean it had to be it had to be Cruz.
yeah, because nobody's really arguing that Tank won the fight. It was close, but nobody's really arguing that he won. But the fact that Tank didn't knock Cruz out, and again, Tank, and I'm not saying he's lying. He said he hurt his hand in the fight. I'm not disputing that, bro. But I think he needs a more definitive win, a more convincing win over Cruz. And really, bro, let's be honest. In terms of the promotions, this is the biggest fight he can make in the PBC, right?
Look, this is why I say the Cruz fight failed. Let me tell you why I say that. Think about this. Like you said, Tank did not Cruz out right.
Right.
Tank did not Cruz out. Cruz was the first man to take 12. Made it he made it competitive enough to where he made it competitive. Plus, he came on a short notice.
Yeah.
Then he came
Yeah.
out of
Was it
nowhere.
5 weeks notice, right?
Yeah. Then he came out of
Yeah.
nowhere. Then, like you said, he had them two highlight real knockouts. Plus, I would thank my boy. I'll admit I would thank my boy. I think he one of the best especially the lower weight class. But look, his own words. When they asked him, "Do you want to recruit rematch?" He said, "Hell no."
Yep.
That made it even worse.
Well, but did you hear what he said a couple days after, maybe two,
Yeah.
3 days after? He said if the money was right, then they
Mm-hmm.
could fight.
I
So
think that.
that, I really think that fight's possible and could
Mm-hmm.
happen. So, and I hope it
This,
does. But also, I hope it does if the Ryan fight doesn't happen, because obviously we all want to see Tank and Ryan first. You know, so
nah, this is what I say for Cruz. This is why I say for Cruz, the perfect two scenario for Cruz. And I'm gonna tell you, it's really three scenarios for Cruz, but I'm gonna call it. You got the main event route where you're gonna have to, Ryan fighting him, you get Tank. You know that's gonna sell. That's gonna be massive. MGM Grand. And I think, yeah, MGM Grand. Not they probably go back to MGM Grand and say, then you got the backup option. Coleman or Rolly, you feel me?
yeah,
Rolly know how to sell the fight. He can do his thing. Then it's close. Or then you got the third route, with the one I don't see him going. The risky route. The Michelle Rivera's, the Frank Martin,
yeah.
them type of dude. That's the
I don't
third
think he
route.
fights
That's
Martin
the
because
risk.
of style, bro. I think Martin's got that kind of style
That's
that
the.
can help box Cruz.
You see what I'm saying? Cruz got three
Yeah.
routes. You got the main event route, the co-man route, and you got the risky route.
Yeah.
They
I
ain't
think,
taking them.
but I think it's all dependent on though, and I think you'd agree with this. It's all dependent on whether Ryan and Tank can make that fight happen. And
Yeah,
you know what? We just heard recently that they are still talking. So that is positive in my book. Even if it doesn't happen next, it's positive for the future that at least the two
look,
sides are still talking.
this is my opinion on the Ryan and Tank stuff. Like I've been telling people, if they negotiate Ryan and Tank, they need to get Munguia and Charlo done. It's the
Right?
same thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Plus they've been saying the rumors that the Jojo Diaz fight got switched over to October 29th, right?
yeah,
And the other day, Munguia supposed to been fighting. They
yeah,
said he could. They said he moved that date because the zone didn't want to pay for the opponent because the zone because sound like McGuire was trying to get another opponent like the last time. And the zone just like fuck it, we're not paying for this shit.
yeah, yeah.
I'm like, man, the zone you should have been did that. They
I
did
see
it
what
with
you're saying, bro. If they can make Ryan and Tank, then why can't they make another fight like Charlo and Munguia? I
bruh.
agree, but
Everybody is gonna walk away with a profit. Your fighter might lose, but everybody walk away with a profit.
absolutely. And again, like I'm going to branch off for a second here, but I know you saw the Cepeda and Prograis fight that they're going 45-45 and the last 10 goes to the winner.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that?
Mm-hmm. No,
Okay.
no, I ain't see
The
that.
one, that's exactly what me and you talked about at the beginning of our last podcast, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Why aren't there more fights like that? You
If
know,
you
it it it,
that's if you
it
truly
makes
confident your fighter can win.
absolutely right. I mean,
That's if you
you're
made
already getting
if
45% of the purse, bro, which is a pretty good number already. You're almost getting half. You're almost going 50-50. So why not go? Hey, the last
look,
10. Yeah,
that's what I say. If you really confident your fight, I feel like if more people did, they made a take it or leave it deal. If you confident your fight can win, we gonna do 40-40-20 first fight. The winner get the last 20% in the rematch. The winner get 60-40.
yeah,
If you
yeah.
truly confident your fighter can win.
Absolutely, man. I mean, and if you had more incentive like that, then I think these fights would be more competitive. It's almost like remember when the WBC had that experiment a while back where they were announcing the scores of the fight after the fourth and the eighth round.
Mm-hmm.
They were announcing what the judges had the fight scored. I think that kind of lights a fire under the ass of a dude that's behind. You know what I'm saying?
I think that'd be smart to do every 4 rounds.
Yeah, right. I mean, because it kind of, even if you did after 5 rounds and after 10 rounds, heading into the championship rounds, you kind of see, oh shit, I'm behind.
Yeah,
I got
no,
to
that'll be
get
smart.
up.
I think that'll be smart too. Like for 10 rounds, you could do round 4, round 8. That's the 9, 9, 10, the championship round. Then you do the championship fight round 5, open the score. Round 10, open the
Yeah.
score. You're going to head into the championship round. Now, that's smart. I think that'd be smart instead of every single round. Cause
Well,
then
because
fighters be trying to.
hey, bro. Well, look at every other sport, bro. I mean, how many times do you see one of your favorite players look up at the scoreboard, bro? He knows what time it is. He knows what the score is. So why in boxing do we limit our fighters from being able to do that? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Anyways, but all right, let's discuss the main event, man. Andy Ruiz against Luis Ortiz. I got a mixed feeling about this one, man. I'm not okay. So Ruiz walked away with a close, unanimous decision. He scored 3 knockdowns. One of them looked like a slip. I'll give you that. He did hurt Ortiz. The other ones, but for the most part, Ortiz outlanded by a couple punches. It wasn't, but he out threw Ruiz by about 100 punches, and that was the big number that told me that Ortiz probably won the fight overall, but it was probably better for boxing that they gave the fight to Ruiz because now we get to potentially see Andrew Ruiz and Deontay Wilder next year if Deontay Wilder wins his next fight. So, what are your thoughts on that, man?
I mean, I could agree with both points. You feel me? It's better for boxing now, because the man, come on, everybody, anybody was saying, no, Deontay Wilder not going to no Andrew Reid fight. He was there for a reason. Plus, he got in the, he ain't he's not there for no reason.
Yeah,
Nah, they make that fight happen. It's gonna probably be in. It's gonna be next year, early next. The only question I got is there gonna be a title on the line, or they gonna have like for the interim WBC belt.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be for the interim belt because from what it's looking like right now, and we'll get into this in a bit, Fury wants to fight before the end of the year. We'll talk about against who it looks like against Joshua, but we'll see. But Fury wants to get a fight in before the end of the year, and he also wants to fight for the undisputed against Usyk in the first half of next year. So I think it's potentially going to be Wilder and Ruiz for the interim title. But my thoughts are simple. I think Ortiz, he had to dominate this fight and win a wide decision or knock Ruiz out in order to win because, bro, let's be honest, nobody wants to see Wilder and Ortiz 3. Wilder's already knocked them out twice, bro.
But
He
see,
wants to see
it's
that. And
hard to.
Ruiz has the bigger name. Now, is he the better fighter than Ortiz? I don't think so, but he's got a bigger name. He beat Anthony Joshua. He's got the Mexican crowd behind him, bro. So it's a way bigger fight, So for boxing's sake, even though I didn't agree with the decision, for boxing's sake, I'm glad Ruiz won. Does that make
Nah,
sense?
yeah, because one thing about the Ruiz fight and the Wilder fight that's gonna make it big, the fans gonna be into it. The fans
Yeah,
gonna be. That's all, but it all depends on how can Wilder win, and not only how he win, how do he look in victory.
yeah,
Now, if you gonna get the knockout, that fight gonna be. And he look like he back. Ruiz and Wilder gonna be turned.
yeah,
They gonna. Nah, I think they're gonna have to do that in Vegas. They're gonna have to do it in Vegas.
yeah.
Nah,
Either Vegas or LA, bro. I see Wilder and Ruiz. Yeah.
I
So,
don't think. I ain't gonna say. I'm not gonna say this is I'm not gonna say this is the definitive. If they do it in March and April, that's gonna be around the end of football season. If they do, they can probably go AT&T Stadium.
oh, in Texas, that's a good idea. I like that idea. That's a good one. Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. You still have a lot of Mexican support there, and
Plus,
Wilder's a huge name, bro. So, yeah,
Wilder from Alabama. Alabama ain't that far from Texas.
yeah, and I love the matchup, bro. I really do. Like, no matter how the fight ends, it's two big names, and that's a big name for Wilder to get on his resume prior
Mm-hmm.
to getting back into title contention. So it's a big
Mm-hmm.
fight, and again, even though I believe Ortiz probably is the better fighter, he didn't make that a wide known fact. And I think that's what Ortiz needed. He needed a big win, either by knockout or a wide decision, in order to let everybody know, like, hey, I'm better than Ruiz. Like, it was close because of the knockdowns and if you look at the total punches landed, I think Ortiz only landed like 2 more punches than Ruiz. But it is what it is. If you leave the fight close and you get hurt and you get knocked down, shit like this happens. Close fights happen. I mean, look at Wilder and Fury won, bro. I mean, I didn't think the fight was that close. I thought Fury whipped his ass, but those couple knockdowns made the fight closer, and the fight ended up being a draw. So
Exactly.
yeah. So, anyways, all right, man. Well, let's keep it rolling. We're gonna go back a week before that to a crossroads fight between Pedraza and Comey on ESPN. Ended up being a really good fight. It was only a 10 rounder. It ended in a draw. I really don't have a problem with a draw. What did you think, though?
No, it was competitive enough to be a draw. I don't know if they're gonna do a rematch though.
Yeah, what I like about it is it sets up the potential for a rematch, but also it keeps them options for guys like Lopez. I mean, Comey already lost to Lopez, so he probably doesn't want to fight him. But if Pedraza would have lost, it kind of took the an option away from Lopez. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if Lopez wants to fight Pedraza next, then he can because he didn't lose to Comey, you know? So I think a rematch probably makes most sense next, but I wouldn't be surprised either if Lopez fought Pedraza in his next fight. So it kind of left the door open for both guys, and both these dudes are former champs, and they've been there and they've done that. And I was glad that neither one of them lost because I think it is a crossroads fight, and it's one of those fights where you're like, damn, he's probably done, or he becomes the true gatekeeper, you know?
You know what
So,
I be thinking about sometimes. 140 and one. I feel like the landscape of 140 and 147 would look completely different if Jack Catterall and John Taylor have that close ass decision. I
yeah,
feel
and
like John Taylor would have already moved up by now.
yeah, well, the thing is I agree, but 140 just almost overnight became one of the best divisions in boxing, bro.
Look, Prograde said it. He don't want to move to 147 because the 135 is moving up. I
Yep.
said this. One of them big names from 135, 140 was already full of killers, but they didn't have
Yeah.
big names, and that's what the 135 dudes bring.
Yeah. Yeah. So this fight, you know, it kind of leaves the option open for both of them. And what's good about both these dudes, Pedraza and Comey, is 140 is deep with ESPN fighters, top ranked fighters, bro. So,
Yeah,
so you, it leaves the option open. I agree, they're probably going to rematch, but damn it, man, we talked about this last time too. Why do they have two former champions like this fight each other in a 10-round fight, Melly? Why wasn't it 12 rounds?
I don't
I,
even know.
I don't understand it, bro. When you have two legitimate former champs that have been there, they've done that. Why the fuck are they fighting in a 10-round fight, bro? I
Mm-hmm.
just it annoys the shit out of me. Like Dogbe and Gonzalez. That was a 10-round fight, and that was an eliminator. And I'm like, why aren't these fools fighting 12-round fights? If it's an eliminator, why is it in 12 rounds? But when you have two former champs like this, these dudes are used to 12-round fights. So why are they fighting in a 10-rounder? You know, that really annoys me, bro. I don't know how you feel about it, but it really annoys me.
I ain't really, I didn't really give a think too much of it because I didn't cross my mind really.
Yeah, I know. I get it, man. All right, so a week before that, we had Navarrete and Baez on ESPN. Man, Navarrete just landed a brutal body punch on Eduardo Baez in what was a competitive fight prior to that, and he knocked him out on that body punch in the sixth round. I'm a big fan of Navarrete, but I've been saying this. I think he made a mistake by re-signing with Top Rank. I
Uh,
really do.
the only thing I see him doing at this point, moving up.
Yeah, because I mean nobody's really available at 126, even if they wanted to cross the street. You know,
Um, and I'm telling you, he go to 130 the first fight. They're gonna make it the Valdez fight.
I think so too. Yeah,
That's gonna be the first fight they make. But at the same time, I think maybe if Shakur wins, what they should do, if Shakur can win his next fight, nothing, that's not really guaranteed if he can beat Canseco. But if he can win his next fight, I think they should go. They should go after. Ain't we gonna talk about Shakur later on?
I think
Hey,
it depends. Yeah, I think it depends on the money that's offered to Shakur because we know Shakur wants to unify belts, but one of those guys have to cross the street to fight him, and
that's
it
why I
sells.
say
Yeah, it sells a lot of money if you sell. Look, this dude's the number one guy at 126, and he's fighting the number one guy at 130. But I feel like we need to see Navarrete move up and beat Valdez too. I agree with that. I would rather see that. I think that's an entertaining fight too. But I think Shakur might demand like, hey, I want a premier opponent if you guys want me to stay here. And if you're not going to give me a fellow champion, another champ to unify belts, then I mean, who do they throw against Shakur while he's waiting around for Navarrete and Valdez is what I'm trying to say. So
see that's what I was just gonna say. That's why I say if he wins Conceição, I think the smart thing to do would really be to go after the Garcia fight because Garcia isn't
Yeah.
as really big of a name as Cordina. So I think that'd be a smart. If I know Tyrann put up enough money to PBC, because because number one, who the PBC got at 130 to fight him?
Well, I agree with you there because there really isn't a lot of big names, and Garcia talking mad shit about Shakur. He really
And
is.
I think it's a good fight to do.
Yeah,
Cause like you said,
and he's not there. The PBC wouldn't be in a position to really make a lot of demands for that because Shakur is clearly the A side.
if
So yeah, so it'd be like, hey, it's almost like a situation where like you should be lucky that Shakur even wants to fight your guy. Almost
bro, that's
kind of,
what I'm saying.
you know? Yeah,
If they even offer him 65-35, they need to be lucky. Take
yeah,
easy if they
absolutely.
can.
Yeah,
Cause like you
absolutely. I
said,
agree with that.
Shakur is way he the distance between Shakur being the A side and Garcia being the B side, even though they champion, is a football alone.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's not even close. So I agree with that. But Navarrete, I think it's up in the air what he does next. But I'm hoping
See,
it's either Valdez or Shakur. But to be honest, bro, I'm very disappointed he didn't sign with the PBC
yeah,
or the Zone because I really feel like he could have unified belts at
I
126.
feel like I feel like he would have been better signing with the PVC.
Oh
You got
yeah.
if they he would have signed with the PVC. His first fight would have been probably Magsayo.
Well,
And
imagine, bro. Imagine though, Navarrete versus. There's three guys I'm going to throw at you, and it's all Mexicans. Navarrete versus Vargas. Navarrete versus Brandon Figueroa. You know, and Navarrete against Leo Santa Cruz. I mean,
crazy
imagine
thing
those
is,
fights.
that gonna be a banger, bro.
Bangers, and they'd sell, and you're unifying belts. I mean, it's just,
And the crazy
yeah.
thing, yeah, the crazy thing, I think Navarrete the best at 126.
Dude, thank you, bro. And see, and people, I want you to know why me and Melly get along so well. And I really do love this guy is we really see eye to eye on the deep shit of boxing. And I absolutely 100% agree with you that I think Navarrete beats any guy at 126, but we're never going to know because he fights for top rank. And that's why I'm so disappointed. He re signed with top rank
That's see
instead of,
that's what I don't get about fighters. You sign with a promoter, he doesn't get you the fights you want to get. You complain about not getting the fights that you want with this promoter. You become a free agent, you get a chance to finally go sign and go get the fights you want. You go right back and re-sign, putting yourself in the situation again.
well, and bro, and even look at the couple big fights, bro, that he's got coming down the road potentially. You got Valdez and you got Stevenson, right? But Melly, how long is that going to last? One, even if you beat Valdez, it's going to lead you to Stevenson. And 100% of people would believe. I don't feel Navarrete stands a chance stylistically against Shakur. Shakur is a special fighter on another level.
The only
And
way, the only way Navarrete can really build up the hype and anticipation for a secure fight, he's gonna have to run through Valdez.
yeah, but the point I'm saying though is Mel is say I mean I don't think anybody would believe that Navarrete would beat Stevenson even if he beats Valdez convincingly or knocks him out. So that happens. Your story ends there. After you lose to Stevenson, what options do you have after that? I mean, we're talking about if he were to join the PBC, Mel, he's set for the next 2 or 3 years in terms of fights, bro. And
Not
he's
even
probably
next.
and he's probably the favorite in almost every fight.
He
Maybe
not even.
Figueroa, that one's a coin flip. But I think he's the favorite against Vargas. I think he's the favorite against Santa Cruz. And it's
That's the.
just disappointing because those are all potentially major fights.
That's
And
the.
I think you make the same amount of money, maybe more, by having those that all those different options going forward than you would have one or two fights against Valdez and Stevenson.
That's the thing. He go to top rank like you said. He stay with top rank. You stay with top rank, you most likely gonna have to go 130 get big fight. You go to 126, you got Santa Cruz, you got Vargas, you got Maxayo, Figueroa, you got Gary Russell, but you even got potentially Cool Boy stuff. And then those fights, all those fights going in the arenas on primetime TV.
Yep.
You wouldn't, like you said, then you got rematches and all that stuff. Man, you
Yeah.
wouldn't have to leave 126 for like another 3. You wouldn't have to leave 126 for a good minute.
And those are all like those Mexican wars that people want to see and they'll pay for. So that
Exactly.
that yeah,
If
and
you would,
honestly, bro, I'm from California. I know what these Mexican versus Mexican fights are. I get, I've lived in this since I was born in California, bro. I know what the Mexican versus Mexican fight does for the fan base and how much money these fools make, dude. And it's just like, wow, you re-signed with Top Rank when you can really only get one or two fights that make sense for you. I don't know, man. Just anyways, we're gonna keep going round and round. Let's keep it moving. We stay with August 20th for the Showtime card. And there's three legitimate fights to talk about. We just mentioned Hector Garcia. He defeated Roger Gutierrez pretty convincingly by a unanimous decision. What did you think about that fight, man?
and good win for Garcia. He need a most likely only two I've seen for him is Cobra or Shakur.
Yeah. Um, before we talk about Shakur, um, I was disappointed in Gutierrez because he really just didn't unleash the beast until maybe the ninth or 10th round. And then the fight got really competitive, man. And I was really disappointed that he didn't do that earlier on because I felt like Garcia was going to win, but I thought Gutierrez could have made the fight a lot closer if he would have started earlier. But he just seemed like, whatever, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. And I was a little disappointed. But Garcia boxed well, man. The dude's got the boxing ability. He can't, after he won the fight, all he's done is talk shit about Stevenson. He even said that if he had a full training camp, that the Stevenson fight would be easy for him.
Um,
And
it
I
would
know
be
that shit talk. I know that shit talk, but I'm like, damn, that fool's got some balls to say some shit like that.
mm-hmm. And
And I like that.
the thing is, but I think what made the Garcia fight better is one thing I like is momentum.
Yeah. Well, he beat
But
Colbert
but
convincingly, and
Shakur,
then he beats
but
Gutierrez.
Shakur ain't got an easy fight ahead of him though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and we'll talk about that. We're gonna get into that. But if
Hey,
the
I'm gonna tell
Shakur
you,
fight,
dude.
if the
Hey,
Shakur fight is impossible, do you want to see Garcia and Colbert again?
I think it'll be a nice storyline, and they got
Yeah.
more stakes to it. Well, hey, I'm gonna tell you, dude, that 130 that slept on was Shaggy Foster.
Yes, man. I agree with you, man. It's just that they can't seem to keep the momentum rolling on him, and I know it's
It's
because his style and a lot of people don't want to fight him, but it's like he almost is the forgotten guy at 130, bro.
he needs to sign with Top Rank.
You think so?
One thing I say, I think, like, I know money wise is not always the best decision, but what I think is you should always sign to the promoter that has the most big names in your division.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm fighting at 140, what the hell am I signing the zone for? And all the big names at fucking Top Rank.
Yep. Yep. We talked about this with Montana Love, remember?
Yep. Like, if you would, if 147, why the hell am I gonna sign with Top Rank?
Top Rank
Nobody
or the
there.
zone, bro. Outside of Virgil Ortiz, you don't have another big name opponent, a big name guy in the zone. So
I
yeah,
mean,
I agree with you, man.
even at the zone right now, they ain't got a lot of big names right now. You know, you got You ain't got like big name DAZN right now. Other than Conor Ben, Virgil. Now they both get belts. DAZN gonna push for that fight.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Yeah. Um.
I feel
All
like
right.
that should be the first unification.
What's that? Virgil and Connor Ben?
That should be the first unification of all the young guys. They're on the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
platform. That
I
should
mean,
be.
yeah.
But
It's
I mean,
down.
it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen immediately though. 'Cause I know they're gonna try to get some homecoming title, a couple title defenses in.
Yeah, honestly, I think we're probably that's probably 2024 we're talking about before we see something like that. But
Yeah, 'cause
it's
I know once they
definitely
get the belt, they're gonna make some. Conor Ben, he gotta get the big. And one thing I think Eddie Hearn messed up at is he should have signed more 147 pounders. That way he can build them up. Cause I think one thing I noticed about especially like the Brits to become that big star, you need that rival coming up.
yeah, for sure.
Cause Tyson Fury had Derek Shaw, Billy Joe had Chris Eubanks. It's always
Yeah,
better rather you got their enemy, and especially in the
yeah,
UK.
yeah.
He should have signed more. Like
Yeah, so let's move to the co-feature that night, which was a really good fight. I'm talking fight of the year candidate. You had Alberto Puello defeat Batir Akhmedov by a split decision. I thought Akhmedov won the fight. It was close. It was a really close fight. He was pushing the action. I thought he was landing the better shots, but I don't have a problem with Puello winning. But quietly, me and you talked about this. Puello, by winning this fight, well, I mean, and either one of them could have won, but this hands one of the titles to the PBC, and then you got Ponce and Matias fighting for the vacant IBF title. The PBC is creating a kind of a little small tournament here to where their chosen guy, which is a very legitimate fighter in Gary Antoine Russell, is probably going to be fighting for one or two belts within the next year. And
yeah,
the PBC has really made a play here at
that's why
140 by Puello beating Akhmedov.
that's why I was just gonna say the two fight the co-main and the main event tie into each other. You make Puello versus the Matias Pump winner. You put Gary Antoine the co-main against Lipinets.
Yeah. And we'll talk about Lipinets in a minute. But here's the thing is Puello, just so everybody knows the fact, Puello has a mandatory against Ishmael Barroso. That was agreed upon prior to Puello and Akhmedov. So Puello's got to come back in a few months and fight Barroso first. But I really see the middle of next year, either Gary Antoine Russell getting the title shot by the middle of next year or the second half of next year. And I think he's got the talent to really become the next big guy at 140. But
Man, what I want to see,
140 is wide open and anything can happen.
what I want to see is Gary Antoine, Sabria Matias.
Yeah, that'd be a good one, man. That'd be
Both
a
of
good
them
one.
got if both of them keep their knockout streaks, and if that save Gary, that's like when that fight. That is a fight. PBC does not need the bullshit trying to none of that. Make it happen when the chance comes. That's why I say we can go and
Well,
skip to the next fight. Lipinets, Gary Antoine.
well, before Josh Taylor gave up all these belts, me and you were talking about how Gary Antoine doesn't have a lot of options here. Now that the belts went vacant, Puello Akhmedov, you got Puello the champ now, PBC guy. You got Matias fighting Ponce, PBC fight. And then you got Sergey Lipinets, which we're gonna actually it rolls in perfect. He stopped Omar Figueroa Jr., who was coming back down to 140. Lipinets stepped in for Adrian Broner. Lipinets was always his best division was always at 140, dude, his best weight. And he went in there and whipped Omar Figueroa's ass. So now you kind of got about five or six good ass fighters here at 140 and two belts potentially for Gary Antoine Russell, who I think he's going to be the boogeyman once he solidifies all these belts, these two titles, and between these five guys, I would pick Gary Russell over any one of those guys. I think his 2023 is locked up, and I think at the end of 2023, we very easily are going to be seeing half of the division shut down by Gary Antoine Russell, bro. That's my prediction, and I'm excited because I like Russell. I think he's got a great style. And he's a boxer, but he's a puncher too, and he really goes for the knockout. He's not like his brother, who's a pure boxer, you know. And I like that about Russell. He's very fan friendly, you know. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the PBC does with these fighters at 140, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, we'll keep it at August 20th. We had a big card on the zone. It was the Joshua Usyk rematch. But let's get into the undercard. You had Badu Jack against Richard Rivera. Badu Jack walked away with a close split decision. I didn't have a problem with that. But at 38 years old, do you think Jack can really compete in a third weight class against the best fighters at cruiserweight? Or was Rivera that good? I mean, or is Jack just on the decline? What do you think, man?
Decline.
I agree. Yeah, Rivera wasn't bad, but Jack, for him to not, he fights the same way he's always fought. He lets the first half, he almost lets the other guy win the fight so he can close the fight strong. And that's always created controversial decisions. But in a third weight class, especially when you're jumping up 20 to 25 pounds to cruiserweight, I just don't think Jack can compete against the top guys at 200 pounds, bro. I just don't see it happening. So, I mean, I like Badu Jack. I always have. But I just think I agree he's on the decline at 38, bro. So, also on the undercard, you had Callum Smith and Bowder Leak is the guy's name. He was a Frenchman. Callum Smith, this is his second fight at 175. He's the WBC's number one contender. He stops Bowder Leak in only 4 rounds. Callum Smith is pretty much next in line to fight the winner of Beterbiev and Anthony Yard. What did you think about Callum Smith?
Yeah, he been looking good at 175. I don't really know who he gonna fight next, honestly.
Well, according to Beterbiev, the postponement on him and Yard isn't going to be a big one. So I'm thinking that him and Yard are probably going to fight in December because they were supposed to fight in October. I think they're probably going to fight in December. And then with Callum Smith being the number one contender and with the winner of Bivol and Beterbiev probably fighting Canelo, I mean, Bivol and Zerto probably fighting Canelo in next May. If all those pieces fall together, I don't think undisputed is possible until the second half of next year. So I think there's a good chance that Callum Smith gets Beterbiev in the first half of next year, bro. And how do you think he does against Beterbiev? I mean, that's a tough fight, but Callum Smith has looked fucking good, and he's a big guy at 175, dude.
I think he gets knocked out at some point in the fight. How it goes before the knockout, it can be anybody's guess. But at the same time, I can't forget the Buwasi. He the IB. If he beats Pascal, he the IBF mandatory.
Yeah, he becomes IBF, but with the governing bodies working with each other, they've been deciding these fights based on who becomes a mandatory first.
But what about potentially they do this though? What about, let's say Buwasi beats Pascal, he's IBF, Callum Smith WBC, they fight each other, unified mandatory?
Yeah, I mean, as long as Beterbiev doesn't want to fight one of them in the first half of the year, because again, it looks like Canelo and Bivol. If Bivol gets through Ramirez and Canelo beats Triple G, which they're both the favorites, if all those pieces fall into place, it looks like Canelo and Bivol 2 next May. So if Better beats Anthony Yard this year, who's he going to have the fight in the first half of the year? That's the only problem there. Unless Better wants to wait 9 months and fight Canelo or the winner of Canelo and Bivol for undisputed next September, but then he's left with 2 mandatories right there. So it's kind of one of those situations where I agree. You got Smith and Buatsi that are both DAZN guys, but one of them could potentially be fighting Better in the first half of next year. Now, I know Better goes in the heavy favor, but I think I like Smith's chances against Better because of his size over what's his name, Buatsi. So, but we'll see. I mean, isn't that the potential that you want? You want to fight the best, so we'll see what happens. The co-feature, Hrgovic against Xiao Zhang. Bro, I wasn't impressed with Hrgovic. I really wasn't. I mean, that dude has been kind of a guy that nobody wants to fight. This was a final eliminator for the IBF, so basically the winner is guaranteed a title shot. And Hrgovic barely got by Zhang in a close fight. What did you think about that one?
Hrgovic, he didn't really look like somebody you consider the boogeyman, or maybe that Zhang was a challenging opponent.
Yeah.
But one thing you will see more dudes calling his name.
Yeah, I think it does leave the door open for more opportunities. So it was kind of hard, but the winner, which was Hrgovic, he's in line to fight for the title at some point. We don't know when that's going to be, but at some point. And I mean, I guess we'll see how he does. Maybe he was overlooking Zhang. I don't know, but we'll see how he does. But the main event, the rematch, it was Usyk and Joshua 2. Joshua fought harder in this fight, but Usyk, his movement, his boxing ability, I mean, he walks away with a split decision. Did you think the fight was that close?
Not really.
Yeah, I kind of had an 8-4 in that area. I mean, if people want to say 7-5, I guess, but I thought Usyk. It wasn't as wide a decision as the first fight, but I was pretty convinced that he beat Joshua in a rematch. What'd you think about Joshua's little kind of temper tantrum at the end of the fight?
Crazy thing, I never watched it.
Okay, yeah. Well, Joshua was pretty pissed off that he lost. I get, he felt he won the fight. I don't know if he felt he won the fight more so as he really wanted to win the fight and was disappointed that he lost, kind of deal. But Usyk gets the win. We'll talk about Joshua in a couple minutes after we get to the Teofimo Lopez fight. But it was a close fight. It was a big fight. And Usyk got away with a split decision win. Again, we'll come back to that in a minute. But we're going to go back to the one fight that happened the week after our last podcast, which is Teofimo Lopez against Pedro Campa. Lopez stops Campa in the 8th or 9th round. It was a pretty competitive fight, but Lopez seemed to control the action. He was boxing well. It was his debut at 140. How do you think Lopez looked, and what do you think about him going forward?
He looked good. It was the type of performance he needed. And if Teo can play a card right, he could become the cash cow 140.
Yeah.
But I ain't gonna cap. I don't see Bob letting him cross that street and facing some Matias and Gary Antoine.
Well, I agree with you, but here's the thing: his immediate future, in my opinion, is locked up.
Barboza.
He could fight Barbosa. He could fight Pedraza in his next fight. Even before the end of the year, he could fight those guys, or in January. You got Taylor fighting Catterall, and I think everybody agrees that Taylor's probably going to win the rematch. But the winner, which is if it's Taylor, I think that loads up a showdown between Taylor and Lopez in the first half to middle of next year. And if Lopez walks away with the title belt, then he's probably going to be lined up to fight the winner of of the three-way between Zepeda, Prograis, and Jose Ramirez.
Yeah.
So I think Lopez has his 2023 kind of tied up. He's got options for Top Rank and ESPN. And I agree with you that they probably aren't going to line him up to fight Gary Antoine, but I don't think they need to right now. And Lopez, being the name that he is already, is pretty much setting himself up to be the next top dog at 140. But he's got to get by Josh Taylor first. And I think some people, are like, oh, well, he could beat Taylor, but I wouldn't guarantee that. I still think stylistically, Taylor's a very good fighter, and Lopez is a little undersized at 140. And I don't know, man. I just I like Lopez a lot, but mentally he's still tripping about the fight against George Kambosos. He can't let that go. And I don't know. I liked his performance against Campa, but I don't know how he's going to be going forward. But for the immediate future, I think he has a lot of options, bro. So
Yeah.
all right, so we're gonna go off into a couple different fights here, and then we're gonna talk about some of the divisions of boxing. But Crawford and Spence, the last thing I heard was about 5 weeks ago that the fight was very close to being finalized. And bro, we still don't have that fight finalized. Do you still think that fight's gonna take place?
It's 50-50 now.
I agree. I agree. I'm trying to be optimistic and say that that fight is gonna happen, but honestly, bro, I don't know.
It's 50-50 at this point.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, I want to see it. It's for Undisputed. For me, that's probably the biggest fight in boxing right now for me. But man, it's just the fact that these guys cannot finalize it, and to be honest, they're holding up like pretty much the whole PBC schedule right now because of it. And we're really interested in seeing what the PBC is going to be doing going forward. And it's pretty disappointing that they can't get the fight done. So hopefully we hear something any day now about that fight being finalized. Fury and Joshua too. I read today that Fury and his people sent all the information over to Joshua for a 60-40 split for December 3rd, and Joshua's side has agreed to everything. Do you think this fight is going to happen on December 3rd for the WBC title?
I give it a good chance.
Yeah,
Unless somehow promoters the broadcast right get in the way.
yeah, I agree, but I really don't think it will because Joshua's coming off the loss, so he clearly is the B side in this one. But I'm impressed that he wants to fight Fury, but Fury has made it clear because he wants to fight in late November, early December, so he can be ready for a showdown with Usyk for the undisputed title in February or March. So the fact that he wants to fight Joshua and Joshua has agreed to it so quickly, and it's been on like the Frank Warren's Twitter account. Eddie Hearn is coming out right away and talking about it. I think this fight really does have some legs to it, and I'm excited. It's a good matchup, bro. It really is. I mean, I know a lot of people are thinking Joshua doesn't stand a chance, but I think he does stand a chance in this fight, and I don't think it's a complete one-sided Tyson Fury's going to beat the shit out of him type ordeal. I think Joshua really does stand a chance in this fight. So we'll see. All right, man. So we're going to do something here in the middle. We don't have that much left, but we're going to do something here in the middle. We're going to go division by division and look at some potential fights we want to see. We're going to start at 118. It looks like the monster Inoue is going to be fighting, is it Paul Butler for Undisputed?
Yeah, I seen that.
Yeah, I mean, is that the fight you see happening next?
Yeah, yeah. That's the only fight I want 18 to make.
Really, it really is, man. Because these two guys, well, I mean, more Inoue has cleared up everything, and Inoue dominating Nonito Donaire really sent a message that he's the guy
I
for sure.
think Casemiro losing the belt missed the division. That would have been a great unification fight.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the fight. I think they've agreed to the fight already, and I'm pretty excited about that fight being made. 122. What's the fight you want to see there?
The obvious MJ versus Fulton.
Yeah, there's really no other fight. I mean, Fulton versus Neary is interesting, but I don't think anybody thinks Neary is going to beat Fulton. So you have two champions. They both have two belts. They're both undefeated. Fulton and MJ. That's the fight that needs to be made, right?
Yeah.
Okay. 126 featherweight. A little disappointing news today. Wood and Lara has been postponed because Lee Wood suffered a biceps injury, but that fight's still supposed to go forward. But how excited are you for Wood, the winner of Wood and Lara, to fight the winner of Vargas and Santa Cruz? Man, I mean, I'm super excited about those
Lara is
matchups.
my boy at
Yeah,
126. I
me
want to
too.
see Lara versus Vargas is a big fight.
I think so too, and it's an all Mexican showdown. Even if Santa Cruz were to beat Vargas, it's still an all Mexican showdown. But dude, I think Lara, following his win against Josh Warrington, is really in the driver's seat here. If he can beat Lee Wood, which I think he will, um, I really cannot wait for those guys to, because at the end of the day, the winner of that little like 4-man tournament's gonna own half of the titles at 126. And if say Mauricio Lara comes out of all that with two belts, and Josh Warrington's still your IBF champion, you got to unify belts in a third fight between those two guys, right?
Yeah.
I
And
mean, you just
then
have, yeah.
Warrington, I think Warrington got on a mandatory fight coming up.
Yeah, he's going to fight Luis Lopez at the end of November. So, yeah, I mean that's the thing is there's a future for unifying belts and undisputed happening, and there's some good fights to happen. So I'm looking forward to that. 130. What's the fight that you want to see made the most?
Shakur versus Cordina.
To me, it's Shakur versus Shavkat Rakimov. But if Cordina beats Rakimov, then obviously I feel like Cordina deserves the fight. But Cordina and Rakimov are actually fighting on the Bivol and Ramirez undercard. I'm picking Rakimov, but I think the winner of that fight, yeah, I want to see them fight Shakur. I agree. Do you want to see that fight to unify belt, or would you rather see Shakur against Navarrete?
Oh, that's a good one. I think Shakur versus Cordina and Cardiff unifying would be big.
I think so too, but Cordina's got to get by Rakimov first. Let's remember
Then
that.
plus, cause I give Cordina a better chance than Navarrete because the size advantage. Plus, I feel now Cordina faster than Navarrete and got better defensive skills. But Navarrete is more explosive and he is got better volume. And I think he is a bigger name in the U.S.
Yeah.
So it really depends whether Shakur wants the big Mexican payday or the big UK payday.
Yeah. All right. So 135. What's the fight you want to see most there?
Tank versus Loma.
I'm kind of with you, man. Taking Ryan is the fight I want to see. I definitely want to see Haney against Lomachenko. I really do.
Tank versus
Because of
Loma
the
is the
belt.
fight I want to see.
Yeah, but Tank against Ryan is huge, man. And I really
Yeah,
do.
that's another fight. Like I think Tank versus Loma the best fight. Tank versus Ryan the biggest fight.
Yeah, see, I think Tank and Loma, Loma holding on to the regular belt for the WBA leaves him in line for the eventual winner of Lomachenko and Haney. And that kind of leaves that potential showdown between Loma and Tank available for the second half of next year. And that's huge, bro. I mean, I would love that. But I also don't want to see Ryan get left hanging, bro. So I'm kind of like conflicted because I love a Ryan versus Tank fight, and if Tank were to take that fight and beat Ryan, oh my God, does that like leave a potential showdown between him and Loma? It's huge. But I don't know. For some reason, I just don't see all those fights taking place next, and it's sad because it's such a good division, man, and it doesn't make any sense why they can't make the fight. But I guess we'll see. So, 140. What's the biggest fight you want to see happen there?
I think if I had to name a fight that I want to see the most, my number one fight, it would be. It would be Ryan. It's gonna be a shocker if I was matchmaking right. They told me to make a fight. It'll be Ryan versus Progress. That fight is interesting as hell to me.
Yeah, down the road, yeah, that'd be the one I'd want to see. I think realistically, the fight that I'd like to see more right now would be Lopez and Ryan.
Oh yeah, we're going
But
realistically right now.
to be honest, I don't even know how realistic that is. I think I can't wait to see what happens between Zepeda and Prograis for the WBC belt. And the fact that the winner has to fight Jose Ramirez, I think it's just going to be a good next couple fights for the WBC belt, man. I really believe that. And I just think this division is so wide open right now, bro. I think you got top ranked guys on one side, you got PBC guys on the other, and then you also have Ryan Garcia potentially there full time at 140. And this division is just on fire right now, in my opinion. And it has so many big fights coming up, bro. And I'm really looking forward to it. 147, obviously, it's Crawford and Spence. Anything else you're interested in seeing there?
Kiefer Thurman versus Boots.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Keith Thurman's running out of time to decide on his next fight, bro. He really is. And, you know, I'm interested in seeing. I can't wait for the Thurman and Spence fight to be announced or not announced so all these other dudes can pretty much plan their next fight, So.
Yeah.
So I kind of just want that fight to either happen or not happen, just so we can see what all the other guys around them are going to do next. So I guess we'll see. 154. What's the fight you want to see most there? Excuse me.
I would like to see Charlo versus Fondor.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Charlo wants anything to do with Fundora. Charlo probably going to fight Tim Tszyu next in January. That's the plan. Yeah, I mean, other than that, there's not really another major fight that I want to see next. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. 160. What's a fight you want to see there?
Weird Charlo.
Munguia, Charlo. I would love to see that fight. I just don't think it's going to happen. And it's both of their faults. I'm not blaming either one of them. It's both of their faults. And with their promoters having big heads. But yeah, I would love to see that fight, but I don't think it's going to go down. 168. What's the fight you want to see there?
Canelo Benavidez.
Yeah, I really do want to see that. It disappoints me as a Canelo fan. It disappoints me that Canelo says he doesn't want to fight another Mexican fighter. I don't understand that. I really don't get that. Why not? Because those have been some of the biggest fights over the years in history is true Mexican fight. So I don't see what the reasoning is behind that. But at the same time, I think Benavidez still needs to earn that fight on his end too. So we got to wait and see. 175. I already know the answer. Better be of Bivol.
You know that?
Yeah, I agree. And me and you have had this discussion. I don't mind if these two guys build this fight up, especially if Canelo can get in the mix and potentially beat Bivol in a rematch. Then you got Better Be and Canelo, and that's huge. But I agree. I would love to see undisputed here. I would love to see, if Bivol is truly better than Canelo and he can beat him in a rematch, then I can't. I would love to see Bivol and better be it for the undisputed title.
Uh,
200 pounds. What's the fight there?
let me think. Okay, Okole and the J.O. Tapia dude.
Yeah, Opataya against Okoli. I agree. They're kind of the new blood in the division. They're both undefeated champions now. Yeah, that's the fight I'd like to see. I would like to see them build that fight up a little bit more. Maybe both of them fight somebody else next. But there's not a lot of huge names at cruiserweight. No names. So
That's what I'm
I
saying.
agree.
Like when you in the division with a lot of names, with not a lot of big names, when you get a chance to have an actual big fight, you need to make it.
Yeah. When you have a chance to unify belts, go for it. Right. I mean, take the chance and go for it. I agree. All right, last division, heavyweight. What's the big fight you want to see there?
You already just Usyk.
Yeah, I agree. Usyk left no doubt against Joshua, and him and Fury needs to happen in the first half of next year. I agree. So, um, all right, cool. So we went through that. Let's talk about the fights that are coming up between pretty much in the next 4 weeks, and we're gonna give predictions on that. We're gonna get into the Canelo Triple G3 undercard that's taking place on the Zone pay-per-view this Saturday, the 17th. Um, there's a really good super middleweight fight on the undercard. You got Ali Akhmedov, only one loss. He lost to what was that guy's name? Jesus Christ, I'm forgetting the guy's name off the top of my head. But he's fighting Gabriel Rosado. What do you think about that fight, dude? I think it's going to be a good fight, but I think Akhmedov, this is his chance to really shake off that loss and come back strong here.
Good crossroads fight.
Yeah, I mean, he lost to Kangora, Carlos Kangora. That was a good ass fight that Akhmedov was winning and he got knocked out.
If Rosado win, I want to see him fight Berlanga.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. I just like the undercard there. Then you got Bam Rodriguez against Israel Gonzalez for the title there. I think it's 100 and is it 112 or 115 they're fighting for? Yeah. Bam Rodriguez is the next big thing in the lower weight classes.
They want to put Bam in there with the winner of Chocolatito Escrow. Let me tell you now.
Yeah.
Bam gonna run through Escrow.
Yeah, Bam is legit. That dude is very, very good.
Now we talking about for boxing, Chocolatito versus Bam, because that's the path in the torch fight.
Yeah, I agree, man. That's a good co-feature right there.
Chocolatito, Bam can. They say they don't want to fight each other. They both with the same thing. I think the money right there do it, but I feel like if Escrow win, Bam gonna run through Escrow in my opinion.
Yeah. So let's get predictions. Do you think Gonzalez stands a chance against Bam? I don't think so.
I never counted out, but I'm picking Bam over anybody at the lower weight class.
Okay, and what about Akhmedov? Before we get into Canelo Triple G, what about Akhmedov and Rosado?
I'm gonna go with Rosado for a set.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Akhmedov. I think Akhmedov is gonna win that one. I think he's gonna. I think he was the kind of the next guy on the rise at 168, and I think the Kangora fight, he was winning that fight. He got upset. He got caught. And Kangora, not taking nothing away from him. He's a good fighter. But I think he's going to beat Rosado. So, all right, cool. We're going head-to-head on that one.
What that made Dave Benavidez versus Kangora?
What's that?
I said, that'd be during the fight, Dave Benavidez versus Carlos Kangora.
That'd be a good one. That'd be a really good one. But let's get into the main event. Canelo Triple G3. This is the major fight taking place within the next month. Canelo coming off the loss to Dimitri Bivol.
Do you think there's a lot of pressure on Canelo to get a knockout?
Do I think what?
Do you think there's a lot of pressure on Canelo to get a knockout?
Yes and no. I think there's a lot of pressure on Canelo to win convincing.
Yeah.
I think he has to win this fight convincingly. But I hate the critics saying that it's almost like yes, it's a must win for Canelo, obviously. especially coming off a loss. But considering the rivalry with Triple G, but also I hate that people are saying that Triple G is old. It's like, okay, I agree. He's gotten older and maybe he's not in his prime, and maybe Canelo is in his prime. But Triple G is still the number one middleweight in the world. He holds 2 of the 4 belts at 160. So, and he's a Hall of Famer. So I'm looking at this fight as he's got a solid chance to upset Canelo. He does. I do think he's a very live underdog, and stylistically, I think he's kind of built for Canelo style in a sense. But I mean, yeah, I don't have a problem with Canelo. I think Canelo's gotten better since their 2 fights, for sure. But so that's why Canelo's the solid favorite. But I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Triple G pulled off the win here. You know, so I just think people are writing off Triple G a little too soon. But I do think Canelo, yeah, he's under the pressure of maybe stopping him, but definitely winning convincingly. He has to win convincingly. It's got to be like no doubt, like, hey, Canelo won this fight, you know. So that's where I kind of land on it.
Yeah, I got Canelo by UD.
Yeah, I'm with you to an extent. I think Canelo definitely can stop Triple G, maybe in the 9th, 10th, 11th rounds, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to the scorecards at all. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, going to be a good fight, but I'm definitely looking forward to it because I feel going into this fight, I feel like the Tyson Fury Wilder 3rd fight. Remember the announcers kept saying, you know, but you don't know. And that fight was fucking great, bro. That was a great fight, that 3rd fight between Fury and Wilder, bro. So, and I feel like the potential is there for Canelo Triple G in their 3rd fight. So we'll see. Friday the 23rd on ESPN. I think me and you are looking at this and very excited. Shakur Stevenson against Robson Consaichao, unified title on the line. What's your thoughts on that one, bro?
There's another pound for pound fight for Shakur. It's not a good opponent on their resume. It's a tough fight. And you get the art guy dude you can argue it's probably the 2nd best dude in the division.
Thank you. I absolutely agree. I honestly think stylistically that this guy has a better chance than anybody else at 130 of beating Shakur. But I think Shakur is so good that I'm not sure this fight's even close. And I think this is probably the best guy stylistically that has a chance against Shakur. That's how good I think Shakur is, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I see Shakur winning a unanimous decision here. I do think Consaichao is a live underdog, but it's gonna be it. I look at this as a chess match, bro, between 2 good boxers. You know, that's how I see this one right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so on the 24th, we got a couple good fights. On DAZN, you got Maxie Hughes against Kid Galahad at lightweight. It was supposed to be Lee Wood and Mauricio Lara in the main event. That fight got postponed because Lee Wood suffered a bicep injury. How do you Kid Galahad? We all knew he was moving up in weight, but to move up 2 weight classes to 135, and Maxie Hughes isn't a complete pushover. How do you see this one going, bro?
I couldn't really give you a take on that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure what we're going to see. Like, I won't be surprised if Galahad wins, but I won't be surprised if Maxie Hughes beats him either. So I'm interested in seeing that one. The other fight on the 24th, big time heavyweight fight, interim WBO title. You got Joe Joyce against Joseph Parker. I'm fucking excited about that fight, bro. What do you think?
I got Joe Joyce.
Yeah, I think he's going to win, but Parker is that guy that is just built to make you look bad. And, you know, I like Joseph Parker, bro. I do. I like him a lot. He's a consummate veteran, but people forget that fool won his first world title when he was like 25, 26 years old when he won the title. His only losses are to Anthony Joshua and Dillian White. Joshua, he was the first guy to take Joshua 12 rounds. He also has a win over Andy Ruiz. And his other loss was to Dillian White, and that was a close ass fight right there. So, you know, I'm really not surprised to see. Hey, what's up, Pops 86? How you doing, man? Sorry, man. We got somebody commenting in here on us, man. But yeah, I mean, Joe Joyce and Joseph Parker is, I think, going to be a good heavyweight fight, and the winner becomes the interim champ, which basically locks you up for a title shot. This guy says nobody beats Fury. Honestly, I don't think anybody beats Fury at heavyweight either. What do you think, bro?
Usyk might have the best chance.
Yeah, I think Usyk has the best chance. I just think Fury's size and his boxing ability, stylistically, I think he beats him. So that's a good comment, bro. I don't blame I don't blame you for thinking that nobody beats Tyson Fury. But back to Joe Joyce and Joseph Parker, the winner is basically, bro, in line for a title shot, or if whoever comes out of that whole undisputed thing. He said Usyk is too small. I agree, but hey, that's what everybody thought about Usyk and Joshua. So we'll see. But uh, I mean, I'm excited about that fight, dude, because it's potentially a title fight because it's for the interim title, and if the winner of whoever comes out of that undisputed thing between Fury, Usyk, Joshua, even the winner's going to have to fight the interim champion in Joyce or Parker, and I don't think they're going to want to. So potentially the winner of Joyce and Parker is your next WBO champion, bro.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Next fight we talk about is a fight I know my boy Melly is totally looking forward to. October 8th, DAZN, Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr. They're fighting at a catchweight of 156, and it's a big time showdown between two guys who their dads were bitter rivals. How do you see this fight going?
Ben.
Yeah, I always favor a guy who's moving up over a guy who's moving down. Hold on, we got a question from Pops 86. Gervonta Davis versus Jose Ramirez. So obviously that fight would have to take place at 140. What's your pick on that one, bro?
I think Tank will knock Ramirez to clean out.
Really? Wow, man. You give a lot of love to Tank, man. I'm not as big on Tank Davis.
I just think stylistically Ramirez, I just see Ramirez and Tank going a lot like Barrios and Tank. I think Ramirez is a better version of Barrios.
Well, here's my thing. I think Ramirez is a big guy at 140. He's probably going to be a natural welterweight. And I'm sorry, Tank doesn't impress me yet. I mean, I like Tank. I'm not saying he doesn't have the talent, but Tank fights a lot of close fights, and I know he scores knockouts, but most of the time there's a reason for the knockouts. The Leo Santa Cruz knockout. Santa Cruz was an undersized 130 pounder. He was, and Tank caught him clean, but that was a close fight. Rolly was a close fight before Tank caught him. Even the Barrios knockout, that was a razor thin fight. And Barrios is a big guy at 140 who is probably more of a natural welterweight. It's not that I don't think Tank is good. I just think he's short, undersized at 140. And I think Ramirez beats him, but I wouldn't be surprised if Tank caught Ramirez cold and knocked him out. I wouldn't be. But I think Ramirez stylistically, I think he's got a good chin. I think Ramirez would win that fight. But that's just on paper, man. I mean, that's a decent matchup that I never really thought about. So also because the reason I didn't think about it is because the fight probably can't be made because that's PBC and Top Rank working together. But yeah, back to the Ben and Eubank fight. I always favor a guy that can move up in weight as opposed to a guy that moves down, especially if that guy is the younger of the two guys. Conor Benn's younger than Chris Eubank. Eubank, I don't remember him fighting under 160, and he's cutting 4 pounds, bro. I just have to favor Conor Benn because of that. But I mean, you never know what's going to happen. They're fighting October 8th on DAZN. So that's interesting right there. Um, the other fight that we got to make a prediction on, Sebastian Fundora against Carlos Ocampo. They fight in the main event of Showtime card on October 8th. How do you think that one's going to go?
On Fundora.
Yeah, I think Fedora is going to knock Ocampo out. Ocampo is on like 11-12 fight win streak since he got knocked out in the first round against Errol Spence Jr. Back in 2018. But none of those guys are on the level of Fundora. Fundora's got that freakish style. I don't see him losing. But it's a good stay busy fight, I guess. I wanted to see Fundora fight somebody better since he's coming off the Erickson Lubin fight. But the fact that he's getting a main event here, and against a guy who's been in the ring with Spence, not a bad opponent, and I think Fundora is going to knock him out and stay busy. And then now we're going to look into some fights that I want our next podcast to be before the Wilder Helenius fight, but we still want to talk about these fights in advance. I'm looking forward to Wilder coming back and fighting Robert Helenius for sure, bro.
Good fight.
For sure.
Good fight.
Yeah, Helenius is hungry, coming off of the back-to-back wins over Adam Konaki. But, bro, the fight I'm looking forward to the most on that card is Caleb Plant and Anthony Durrell.
Yeah, that's a good fight.
I think so, too. It's a crossroads fight. Stylistically, I think Caleb Plant's the better boxer. But I would not be surprised if Anthony Durrell beat him, bro. And I like this fight. I like the matchup, dude. I'm really looking forward to that fight. Yeah, so I think it's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Also, October 15th on ESPN, you got the rematch between Devin Haney and George Kambosos. What's your thought about that?
George Kambosos can't get past the jab. He's going to lose again.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's going to be more aggressive in the rematch, but Devin Haney, I just think he showed that stylistically he's the better fighter, and he has to take this fight. I just hope he's not overlooking Kambosos in the rematch ahead of a showdown with Lomachenko, because I really want to see Haney and Lomachenko.
Yeah.
And speaking of Lomachenko, he's the next guy on the list of the fights that we know are going to happen before the end of the year. The 29th on ESPN, Lomachenko is going to fight Jermaine Ortiz, the guy who stopped Jamel Herring. I think it's a good fight, a good first fight back for Lomachenko. I know me and you would have rather seen him fight Nakathila, but I like the fact that Ortiz doesn't have any losses, so Lomachenko wants to be the first L on his.
I think another thing is Ortiz is young, he's athletic, he's more of a slick boxer. I think that's a good style to come back for if you're going to fight Haney or Shakur next.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to that one. I love Lomachenko. He's a great fighter. Also on the 29th, a heavyweight fight kind of flying under the radar, but Hughie Fury is fighting Michael Hunter. And the winner gets to fight Daniel Dubois for the WBA regular belt. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I think that's 50-50. I think Daniel Dubois going to be in a big fight next.
Yeah. I kind of want to see Dubois. Me and you talked the last time about Dubois fighting Chisora next. And then he would be in line to fight the winner of Hughie Fury and Michael Hunter, which are both solid heavyweight fights right there, especially while you're waiting around to get in line for the whoever comes out of the Fury, Usyk, and all that thing. So I think Daniel Dubois keeping himself busy and having guys like Hughie Fury and Michael Hunter are a good deal. So I'm looking forward to that one. And then also October 29th, we mentioned it earlier, JoJo's fighting William Zepeda, lightweight fight. What do you think about that one?
I got JoJo, but it's a big opportunity for Zepeda.
Yeah, Zepeda's undefeated on the rise. I like the opponent selection for JoJo coming off of a loss to Haney. I don't think this is a bad opponent selection, so I'm looking forward to it. I think that's a good one on DAZN. And then the last fight to talk about, November 5th, I'm really excited, dude. On DAZN, Dimitri Bivol and Gilberto Ramirez. I mean, Bivol was focusing on Buatsi. He wanted that fight, but Ramirez pushed, and the WBA said no. And I'm excited about this one. I can't wait to see this
Yeah,
fight. I
that's a
think
good fight. 'Cause,
I agree, dude. I think Bivol, even though he's coming off the win over Canelo, this is the type of opponents he's been wanting to fight this whole time that been ducking him.
mm,
So now it's a mandatory fight, and yeah, he's the favorite going in. But I think Ramirez is a good ass opponent for him, dude. I really do. You
yeah,
know, so, yeah. So I'm really looking forward to that fight on November 5th, man. I think it's going to be good. So, also we talked about it earlier. You got Cordina against Rakimov on the undercard, bro, and I'm excited about that one. I think that's going to be a good ass fight right there too.
hmm
So. So that's pretty much it, man. I mean, anything else you want to talk about or get into, Melly, before we close it out?
Nah, it getting kind of late. I'm gonna talk to you again, True.
Yeah, yeah. So I appreciate everybody tuning in for it. We're gonna try to come back after the Conor Ben Eubank fight and Fedora Ocampo fight on October 8th. We're gonna try to come back that next week and before Wilder and Hellenius and give our predictions on those fights. But make sure you guys are checking out the third fight between Canelo and Triple G that's taking place this Saturday on the Zone pay-per-view. Um, you got Shakur Stevenson and Robson Consaicho on the 23rd, which is a Friday night. Joe Joyce and Joseph Parker on the 24th. And then again, Conor Ben, Chris Eubank in a big fight, catch weight 156 on October 8th on the Zone, and then Sebastian Fundora and Carlos Ocampo on October 8th on Showtime. So a lot of big things going on in boxing. We are praying and hoping, me and Melly are praying and hoping that Crawford and Spence gets made before our next podcast. And we are praying and hoping that Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua gets made for December 3rd. But we'll keep you posted. A lot of other fights we're hoping to fall into place between now and then on October 9th, 10th, 11th, one of those days we're going to do our next podcast. And that's what we got. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is episode 11 of the True Boxing Podcast. Melly, thanks for joining it, man. I appreciate you, bro. And we will talk next time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.